Hey, everybody. Today on the podcast, we have Derek and Cody from 50 Cal Fitness. Guys, thanks for taking the time to chat. Looking forward to this. Would you mind? I'm guessing most of the listeners have no idea. Sorry about that, who you guys are. But would you mind just starting us off by telling us who you are?
Sure. I'm Cody. I'm more of the builder of the duo here. He comes up with a lot of ideas, and then got a shop and been welding since I was little. So I put things together and we try it. If it works, good, and if it doesn't, then we're back to the scrap iron.
Our whole business model is licensing out to companies. We don't have a website or anything. We're talking about maybe putting one together. But as for me personally, just a Bible believing Christian down here in Texas. I got a wife and kids, and like to hunt and fish and make things with this guy and try to license them out.
Yeah. Cool. Been best friends since way back when. Started church together before we started school together. So That's how.
Gotcha. Where in Texas are you guys? Areas?
We are, say, halfway between Houston and Corpus Christi, about 20 minutes off the actual coast.
We grew up in the little town of Ganado, and I live in Edna, which is just across the lake now. So
cool. And what do you guys do for a day job?
We're chemical plant workers, basically.
You guys work together as well?
Different units, but the same for the same company.
Right. I make ethylene, propylene, mixed C4s, wash oil, flux oil, BTX, and several other things. And
we make caustic in my unit. Caustic goes in all kinds of cleaners and stuff like that. So
got it. And it appears that you are in some sort of a home gym setting. At least that's what I'm guessing. Do you guys both have home gyms? And if so, can you tell us when you started and what they ultimately look like today?
I had a home gym since I was in 6th grade. I had a knockoff Total Gym starting off, and then a Weeder bench press with a leg curl, leg extension. And when I bought my first house, when I got back from Afghanistan, I got some of our old weight equipment from our high school in there, and then today it's just in a shop. It's not as nice as this. So yeah, it's we got the same rack. We both have a Titan X3, and he's got a nice functional trainer, but I feel like I got a lot more attachments and stuff.
Yeah, that's
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is more myself and my brother's setup here. This is at his barn.
Okay.
Yeah, basically my first home gym was in a little tin shack in the hot box. Because South Texas is normally 100 degrees for most of the year. And I had a weeder rack that a friend gave me, and just made a lot of my own weights and stuff, bars and stuff like that. Just something to get me by, and then just slowly collected over time. Stuff that he didn't want anymore, or just picked up things, and then started buying some nicer, newer things. And then we moved into here with my brother in a nicer place, so I started upgrading my rack and things like that. So
cool. And how long has this process been going on?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Cool.
He lives in the middle of the sticks like it, so he doesn't.
15, 16 miles from the closest real town.
Right.
So there's nothing out here.
And the population of the town's only it's less than 2,000. Like we're small country folk.
Got it. So what got you into the thinking about creating something mindset? Like you met. We probably should have mentioned earlier on, but you guys have, I think, a couple of products that you have been the ideas you've created. The ideas, I don't know exactly what you've done with them, but you're trying to get a couple products to market,
Right.
And you're going with the licensing route, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But what got you thinking about creating something for some gym equipment? What got you thinking about creating gym equipment?
So
Yeah. So I remember seeing Coop's review over the first Kabuki transformer bar, and
Okay.
you know how awkward it was to adjust it, right? And I'm like, why don't you just put like a pop pan or something in like that? And then Lord, you know, it ended up being the way they went, right? I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
So then the next thing I remember, Coop again. I remember him going over the it was Titan versus Rogue, the reverse hypers, and comparing the two, right? And he made a statement in there like all you can do is reverse hypers on them. And I'm like, man, it's such a big platform. You could make it do so much. And then I got with him and like, hey, what if we made it into a traction table and look, we can do hyper extensions. We can do Nordics weren't big at the time, but we have this pad that you can do GHDs and or GHRs and all sorts of stuff. And it took us a while to actually get it all fit and finished together. But that was so. In that we started. I started pursuing companies. Hey, can I show you this? Patent pending thing that we have, and we just did a provisional patent over it. And some companies said yes, some companies really liked it, and it was during the height of all the BS in 2020, and so some companies got back to us and said, "Hey, we're just so swamped, we can't keep our own inventory in, and just get back with us." So Coop again. I saw an interview with a guy that he did, and I sent it to him on LinkedIn, and he said, "Hey, that's awesome. Can we see it in person?" So I set it up, and it got us in the door. We were working on something else at the time, and they seemed more interested in that, so we had to scramble to get that ready, and that's the first product I think we're gonna or they're gonna launch for with us, and it's gone over several different iterations. The product because it's a completely new thing, right? It's not just a different version. It's all right. I take it back. It's kind of a different version of something, but at the same time, it's its own thing. Without getting too detailed, but it's gone over several different. I think we're on the seventh iteration of it, including ours. So
just a lot of fine tuning.
yes,
There's
yes.
one when it gets released to be where nobody can pick it apart. You're like, well, it's cool, but it doesn't do this very good.
Right.
Or I could, just it could be better this way or that way. They just want it to be as good as possible.
Sure. And
Got it.
there's an issue with the people they were getting to manufacture it. They had a lot of the engineers from that company leave, and they noticed a lot of their stuff. The way I understand it, they noticed a lot of their stuff like, hey, we can't do these tolerances anymore. And they got in contact with the original group, and so it put them, from my understanding, like 6 months behind what they even on products they were, I think, even already manufacturing. So.
Got it. Well, I mean, I know you can't exactly say what the product is,
I wish it could.
who it is. It feels like you're kind of hinting at something, some sort of like very versatile tool, and maybe I'm wrong.
You are.
Oh, it
Yeah.
feels
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
I wish I could. I wish I could tell you. You know.
I would
Yeah.
say you're wrong.
It's
Yeah.
it's versatile,
It's
but
versatile.
you do. It's Yeah. I don't know how to word it.
It's not like the if you've seen what freak athletes doing with
No.
like the well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Well, I mean,
Right.
what you were saying though is um you were saying like you heard reviews of this like standalone unit that could be used for multiple different things, like I think that's like the big issue with like the squat max, right? Like the squat max was something like that nobody wanted to buy just to do one thing, just like you
Sure.
mentioned the reverse hyper. So I'm guessing it's something to do with like a reverse hyper, and you can do more than just a reverse hyper. But I'm
Sure.
just
Well, that's So that was our first thing that we made, was the reverse hyper table, and it just multifunctional. And you might have saw the video with us and No Fate, like he had it in the background. And if not, you could do. We upgraded the belt squat. You can do it, turns into a traction table, reverse hypers. You can do Nordic curls on it. You can do hyper extensions. It's functional, but it's not going anywhere. It's a little hard to manipulate. So in the home gym setup, that's probably the biggest downfall is just setup time, right? And this does take a little bit of setup. That Nordic hyper from Freak Athlete, that's pretty sick. And I actually ordered one. Yeah, I ordered one, and it's supposed to be here on the end of November because I got some back issues. I'm hopefully, because our table stays at his place, just right outside, and he's you're 20 minutes away from me, so it's not just yeah.
Yeah, and I was going off that video.
Sure.
And then based off what you were saying, I was like, oh, maybe that is what.
No,
what's
it's
happening.
We'd love somebody to be like, oh, hey, we can make it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways to refine it. I have a very basic shop, so everything. I mean, I can cut, weld it together, and if it's not right, cut it apart and do it again. But I don't have a CNC machine and all the nice stuff. So,
but there are ways around that for anybody interested in doing the CNC stuff. You just get with your local high school shop, and the local ag teacher has cut out a few things for us. So that's a way around that we've gotten.
Oh, that is cool. So, I mean, you kind of explained you had some inspiration from some of Coop's reviews, but what made you actually what made you go for it? And was the number one, was your intent right away? I think we want to start creating some gym equipment, or was it just we just want to play around?
I'd rather try and fail than not try at all and wonder, So I knew very early on I didn't want to start manufacturing equipment and have to deal with all that stuff. That's another animal, and my brain just doesn't. I'm not organized enough to make that work. I just, I think I'm a creative guy, but just all the logistics and manufacturing and then marketing and then, we got too much inventory, we don't have enough, let somebody else deal with that. So, but then I started watching this, I started looking through for different avenues to get my product out. And I don't know how exactly I fell into licensing, but I did some research on licensing, and I found this group called InventRight that helps you. They've got a ton of free resources online. They tell you how to, license your product, and they coach you. And they have a paid resource, but I just have gone off of what they've said on YouTube, and it's worked really well.
Examples of what are some examples of some of the just key things that you've learned that you didn't know going into it?
Sure. So this is assuming you already have your product, right? Just, reaching out to companies, you want to be brief, and nobody wants to spend, 10 minutes reading your email they don't know you, right? Just hey, does your company accept, outside product developer ideas? And they'll say yes or no, or they won't get back to you at all. It is the way it is. And so if they like it, you still want to be brief with your descriptions and sending your marketing material. If you have a video, you want to ideally keep it under a minute. And then if you have a sales sheet, you want to think billboard, get your product idea across very quickly. So that's the biggest. There's a lot of takeaways, off the top of my head. But just being brief in the beginning, and your product ideally would speak for itself, right? So, and that's where your marketing material comes in, and they have coaches that help you with that. So, and then after that, it's just not being a crazy inventor. You might have the best idea in the world, but if you're too difficult to deal with, nobody wants to work with you, right? So just being level-headed through it all, and yeah.
what about like you mentioned you had a provisional patent. What would be your advice around patents? Like, because like most people can't afford it right away and it's just too big of a risk. So could you explain your methodology there?
Say don't go out and get a full blown patent on anything unless you just know, unless you're going to manufacture it yourself and you know that it's going to have traction and just take off. The provisional patent protects you for what, like a year?
It's protection for a year, and as long as you didn't show it on Instagram, you can refile it. And in that time, you would probably make some improvements on it too. So we're going through the patent process now with two things that this same company is manufacturing. So, but I'm glad we didn't try to do patents on everything. We'd be broke. So because they are expensive, and so the provisional patent, it's a great tool. You can find it on the USPTO website. It's $65, and it gives you legal protection for a year. And you're not, when you email it to a company, they say, hey, yeah, send it over. That's still not showing them, right? Like you're showing them, but it's in confidential.
And for the patent, did you have to get like a lawyer or some legal advice, or were you able to figure out yourself?
Oh no.
No, we didn't even try. We went straight with the patent right there.
There are patent writers that they don't go through a firm. They're a little more affordable, but we ended up going with a firm out of Michigan, dealing with the guy up there.
Okay, can you share how much that cost you?
That's to be determined. We're not quite finished with it, but it's so patent.
The first one was
No, that was your end. So, but it was like it's anywhere from, let's say, 7,000 to 20,000 per patent. So, which is
even
still,
just for the provisional
no.
patent?
Provisional is $65.
Okay, I'm trying to narrow down on the provisional patent. Were you able to
I'm
figure
sorry.
that out?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yeah, provisional patent is $65, and it gives you legal protection for a year. So the company, they want us to go out and get a patent because they want to protect it, right? So it's
Gotcha.
on us to go out and get it. Now there are ways to get them to forward royalties to you, right? So if you can get the company that you're dealing with to forward you, let's say $5,000 in royalties, and they just, whenever your product starts selling, that's when they take it. You have to eat up that cost first. That makes sense.
It does make sense. And then just so I'm crystal clear, you did not have to get any help when you filed provisional patent. You did figure that out by yourself, and it only cost $65.
That was my wife. If so, my wife helped me because
right.
Yeah, but no, as far as like going out and seeking somebody, lawyers will charge you a pretty good penny just to write a provisional. But,
right.
Yeah, my wife wrote it, or I wrote it, and she fixed my spelling errors, and But when you're filling out that provisional patent, you really want to think, how could I work around this, and do your own workarounds within that. If I can make it with a ring, can I make it with a tube? Can I make it with a hexagon? Just think of different ways that it can be manufactured. And, you want to put, say it's yours models out of carbon steel. Well, it can be made out of stainless steel, but not limited to carbon steel and, stainless steel. That kind of language. You don't have to get too technical. It's nobody sees it. It's just on the USPTO website, and it gives you that placeholder for a year.
All right, so you're telling me I could technically go and look it up?
Yeah. Oh no, not like. Yeah, no, you can't find it. The provisional. When you're getting a patent, you have patent pending, right? Which is actually sometimes better than the patent itself because nobody can see what you're staking your claims on.
Right. That makes sense.
And then once they see your claims, then they can, try to work around it.
Work around it.
Right.
Cool. And then, I'd be very curious for you to be a little bit more specific about how many, when you first started reaching out to companies, how many did you reach out to? How many different emails per company? And then what was how many people actually responded to you?
So originally a lot, I try to reach out to everybody.
Like hundreds?
I didn't know there was hundreds until I see your placeholder, the HomeGymCon thing.
Yeah.
Banner. I didn't know some of these companies were out there, and I thought I did a pretty good job of researching. And so you typically you go after the French Sports, the Titans, the Rogues, the Reps, but you don't exclude anybody, right? Because they might really like it. So offhand, probably about 20 companies, maybe. I think it's more, but I'm just trying to be a conservative number.
They have to be a certain size as well. They're manufactured. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I can't go. I can't expect the guy from Microgains to come out with what I mean. And I like Microgains. He's got a really cool product, but he's got a few products now, right? But he's just pretty simple, SKU products.
Mm-hmm.
So you want somebody that has a pretty big catalog, but it's more than, you don't have to limit yourself to the United States either. You could try to get, I've reached out to Elenco, with no reply, but I still reached out to him.
Okay, so 20-ish companies.
Sure.
How many different email addresses per company? What was the strategy there? Was it I need to try and find 10 people from Rogue, 10 people from Titan, or was it just one email per company?
No, that's a great question. And it was for Rogue, let's say, and I'm thinking about when our table was, we were trying to push that. It was for Rogue, probably about 10 people, because I tried to reach out to people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And nobody got back with me there. But on the actual Rogue website, I dealt with a guy named Matt and Zach, or Zane, I think, and they got back with me. And then after that, it was just silence. I didn't hear anything. I would just, they don't have to reply back to you, but just simple, hey, we're not interested would be nice too. But they're busy. We're nobody, so I get it at the same time. So
you're I made contact with Rogue, and then
you're just waiting. So typically you want to give a person about 2 weeks to reply, and if they haven't replied back to you, then you go out and try to get something again. Go to the same company, but I think you hit them all at the same time.
Right, so, for sure. No, yeah, I mean I did the same thing with HomeGymCon. Trying to get as many people. Yeah. What about how many did actually respond back?
Okay, so I'm gonna name drop him just because he was really cool to deal with, and it was on LinkedIn. Was Chris Duffin from Kabuki Strength? He was really encouraging, and so he was cool.
Was pretty quick to respond too.
Very quick.
But he was just this isn't right for our company or something like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But he was hey, I like the concept, and just don't really think it's going to fit with what, his model or whatever.
Right.
So, hey, that's cool, but it was cool.
Thank you for just getting back with us.
Yeah. We showed him a few different things, and he was always real quick to respond. So.
Sure.
That was appreciated, no doubt.
His thing with our table was he said something about the reverse hyper, how he didn't think it was a good movement. And so he thought it would be contradictory to put something out that had a reverse hyper motion. So, but there's a company out of Texas that got back to French Sports. I'll just say they got back to us and said, hey, it was when they were real busy in 2020. And after that, probably maybe about 3 others So yeah, and I will say originally we didn't even try to contact the company that we're working with, and I have some of their equipment and had some of their equipment, so it's just kind of like I don't know why I didn't
Uh-huh.
trust them before, but yeah.
Gotcha. And how long was it before you when you started emailing companies or calling or whatever you did to finding the right person?
Oh, probably about a year, probably a year and a half.
A
Yeah,
year.
yeah, you just plugged away. But we were already working on other things at the time. I've got a list of things that I think, and I kind of try to narrow it down what would be best next to work on. And so the company that we reached out to a guy on LinkedIn, and he's like I said, he said that's awesome. So he set us up with a product manager. We did like a Skype or Riverside, something like this, over the internet, just like we're in the same building we are, and just kind of talking. I felt like they were just kind of feeling us out, like see if we could, can we work with these guys? A lot of those kind of questions. So we made a trip up there. We drove, what was it, 10 hours? 10 hours to show our stuff, which is pretty, that's not typical. That's not, but it was such a big machine. And so before the meeting, we were working on the thing we're probably going to come out with first. And I told him like, hey, I'm going to mention this. And he's like, hey man, I wouldn't do it just because,
Well, we're feeling them out too.
Yeah.
We don't tell them too much.
Yeah. But I just told him like, hey man, you're like a brother to me. Love you, man, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I brought up that portion, and I found a good opportunity to say, hey, and this ain't the only thing we're working on. We're working on this, and they said, oh, okay, and then wrote something down. And after they asked their questions, and hey, you mentioned this. And I said, yes, sir. Hey, we'd be really interested in seeing that. That sounds like a good product for us. And then he chimes in, oh yeah, and it does this and it does that. So, yeah.
When you build something, you know all the ins and outs of it.
Sure. No.
Yeah.
Got it. And you mentioned you're on your 7th iteration. How long has it been since you made that trip and it's been going on?
So it's taken longer than I think it should, but it's right at 2 years. Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, because it's a unique product, man. It's not just welded. It's a lot of machined, and I've got to give credit to the designer a lot because each iteration has been so much better than the first. And I think, but at the same time, I think there's still utility in our first model that we made. I think it could be a more affordable model you can do a few more things with it, but at the same time, what they're coming out with is just really polished, and I think going to be a really nice piece for your home gym. So I wish I could say what it was.
So you really did. I guess that makes sense. I should have done the math, but yeah, you started reaching out during COVID. Took about a year, and then another couple years of product iterations.
Right.
How much has it been more like? Have you been very involved with the iteration after iteration, or is it more like they do all the work, they come to you and what do you think, or what's going on there?
Yeah, more like that. Just I've spoke with the designer on the phone a few times, just kind of discussing things back and forth, and he's a lot smarter than I am. So the bells and whistles that he put on it, it's I don't know, I think it's pretty sweet. But like I said, we thought everything was going really well until their manufacturer kind of a portion of the people they were dealing with left that company. But I think we got all that settled down. I'd love for them to debut, or even before, the sooner the better, at HomeGymCon. I think we could get really close there, and we're going up there, so it's just like, hey, look, this is something we helped make. So I think that'd be cool, but maybe it's selfish of me. I don't know.
That would be cool. All right. Well, I mean, anything else you want to share around that? Do you have actually? Let me ask. So do you have? So you have one product that you say is kind of close. It's getting there. What about that other product? Where's that?
So I might give a little bit away, but it's a specialty bar, and it's really sick. It's really sick, and it could function as it is. They load tested it. It's just heavy, and they say it's
Okay.
about 55 pounds. So they talked about maybe modifying it, and the way it is now, I could see like a big guy using it, right? Like if you're 55 pounds, it's not crazy heavy, but they said the people in their gym don't really like using it because it's heavy to put on the rack, but they
Well,
got.
I mean, I will say like I don't know what type of specialty bar it is, but like
Mhm.
I have a prime bar that's like I want to say it's like 75 pounds.
Sure.
The Rep SSB is like 65 pounds. Um, so I think the lighter the better, but I think a lot of people it's like a secondary
Right.
thing that they're thinking about it.
Right.
So as maybe if it's an upper body tool, I'm not sure
Right.
what it is. If it's like a curl bar that's 55 pounds,
Yeah, that
that
would
seems
be
heavy. But,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't. I think that would be a secondary thing. But yeah, it is depending if it's truly mind blowing. Then I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It
we're
sounds
excited.
like get it out, and then make an update. I don't know, but
Sure,
that
sure. I
is
know. I
cool.
mean, I feel kind of stupid just like talking about it and like, oh, we can't talk about it. Um,
That's
but
all right. Leaves a little
yeah,
suspense.
sure, sure. So it's yeah, I could like the way it is now in our model, like it's maybe you can say it's more for the big boys.
Do
But
you have a patent on it?
we're filling one out right now. Those are the two things that we're we're patenting.
I mean, one thing that would be cool for something at like Home Gym Con is for whoever you're working with to bring it there and say, here's what we got. And you could
Oh,
get hundreds of people to say, here's what I think, here's what I think,
right,
Like
right.
that would be cool, especially
Yeah,
if you already have a patent and you're not like,
right,
you
right.
mentioned there's workarounds, but
Yeah,
that would be something that could
sure.
definitely be like an option. And not really, there really isn't a better way to do it right
Right.
now, unless you bring people into your company or wherever you're at.
Sure. Sure.
So
What a perfect platform to do it in, right?
exactly,
So you can get real honest opinions.
it's going to be
So
the best opinions because it's people who love this stuff.
yes,
Right.
Yeah,
yes, and
yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, you know who we're working with, right? I told you off.
yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
you should tell them that.
Well, maybe they'll listen to this.
Yeah, maybe so. So yeah, that would be, and I have kind of thought about that. Like, why don't they get but they, the designer told me what they're going to try first to get that weight down, and that's fine too. It's just, I mean, we're partial to our original concept. It's for big boys.
Yeah. In
There's a
my
lot of big
mind,
boys out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
my mind, if you're going to spend the money on a specialty bar, like you're probably strong enough to put it on the rack without problems too. Like, I mean, really, if you're
Yeah,
buying a specialty bar and you're not going to put at least 45s on it, like, I mean, really, are you really using it? you know,
yeah.
so just leave it heavy and, you know, but hey, I mean, when I built it heavy. One, so it wouldn't break, but two, because it's just easier to work with heavier metal, for one thing.
Right.
And with all the welding and stuff, it's heavier metal doesn't warp and walk on you when you're trying to put it
Cool.
together. Where thinner, lighter stuff, it's just easier building things heavy.
Well, I think I wonder how the feedback on the updated smaller Mars bar is, because that was like the big thing about the Mars bar was people were saying it was just a little bit too heavy to move around.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with the smaller version. I wonder if people are as interested as in the smaller version.
Sure.
That would be something to look at. Yeah, it's pretty much the same bar but smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
I had the original Mars bar. I got it on sale when Titan. I had a coupon for Titan, and it was on sale. I'm like, let me just go ahead and get it. So, yeah.
That's an awesome bar.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's really so I injured my back in Afghanistan, and it's been the best bar for me to squat with. And front squats are really comfortable with it too. That's the best way to do front squats. Bar none, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Well, I mean, what are you guys hoping to get out of HomeGymCon? Are you driving or flying?
We're driving.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
But not sure.
Yeah. We'll leave the. We could. I guess we could get some tickets if.
Over half the drive is just getting out of Texas, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, maybe you can make a trip out of it. Stop a few cool places.
Oh, we'll get there one day. Yeah. It ain't. Yeah. We're not gonna. We'll stop to pee maybe twice, but we're gonna get there.
Cool. But I mean, what are you guys hoping to see there? I know Cody, you're doing the strongman competition.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. So that'll be fun. Like, I don't know. We worked out before this, so it's like, well, we was talking. It's like, I don't expect to win because
you're the only person in your weight division
right now. I'm the only person in my weight division, but bigger things like this, they're going to draw some real players in there. So, I mean, I'm strong compared to most people, but compared to the guys that really compete, I'm just not there. Especially to the big boys. I'm only in the 220 or under 105, whatever.
Oh.
So.
Hey, when will the weights be announced?
For the strongman competition?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll have to get with Kurt on that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, some of these people that I've seen online, yourself, Adam, and just, shake your hand and say, hey, nice to meet you kind of thing. And all the people like, Kaizen, he seems like a cool guy. Just meeting people and then seeing all the new products. And I really, for me, when I see stuff like that, my mind gets going, and not in a workaround sense, but just being around all that stuff, and it opens you up. Like, hey, there are different ways of doing this, and I don't know, and try some equipment out and see what I need to buy. I'm really looking forward to it. I wish I wanted to make the first one, but it's just like, but number 2 already looks better. So
number 2 does look pretty good. I have to say so myself. Cool. Anything else you guys want to chat about while you're here?
No, I mean we're good. We're looking forward to meeting some people at HomeGymCon, and we're just going to be down here in Texas plugging away and on some new equipment, new innovations. We're thinking about just trying to shoot some videos for YouTube, and I know I know there's more to it than what I know, but I've been doing a little research on editing and stuff, and I don't plan to blow up, but just get our name out there a little bit,
Cool.
more, and try to. Our slogan is we're going to make some things, we're going to review some things, we're probably going to shoot some things. So, we stay loaded.
Sounds good. Well, where can people find you?
Right now, just YouTube. I guess we just started a YouTube account. We didn't post any videos, but LinkedIn is where you can find me. Derek Dunbar on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
We updated. I got an Instagram account now, so yeah, you can find 50 Cal Fitness on Instagram. So, and if anybody has any questions about licensing, if I can answer them, great. And if not, then sorry, I'll point you to InventRight. So
Sounds good. Well, I'll plug those links in there. Thanks for taking the time.
yeah, thank you.
Would love to have you guys back on, when the product is live.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
can talk about it. That would be fun.
It'd probably be smoother,
Yeah, it'd be much easier
hey,
to
yeah,
talk
it's
about.
this. So yeah,
That's all right. I think, we'll see how this does. Haven't quite done a podcast quite like this,
sure.
but would love to hear anybody's thoughts on it. And, hopefully they are here for the story now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All righty.
All righty.
Hey,
All right. Thanks, guys.
all right, thank
Thank you.